reaching extremely high values of 1 to 3 million Kelvin. The Aditya L1 mission has 7 scientific payloads to conduct a comprehensive study of the Sun. The Visible Emission Line Coronagraph, VELC, investigates the solar corona and the dynamics of coronal mass ejections. The Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope, SOOT payload, scans the solar disk in near ultraviolet light and detects fluctuations in solar irradiance. The Aditya Solar Wind Particle
is gearing for its rendezvous with the Sun. To take you along on the live telecast of this momentous event today, I am Madhuri, giving the commentary in English.
Before MOT, you can switch
With
on
me
the radio.
is my co-commentator, Vikas Swarnkar, who will be giving the commentary in Hindi.
Copied.
We are about to script yet another chapter in the glorious space research history of India. Today, the workhorse rocket pslv C-57 will carry Aditya L1, the Solar Observatory of India, to be placed at a vantage point from where it will be able to continuously observe the Sun and while being in the visibility of Earth-based ground stations. 10 days ago, India became the first country in the world to safely land a spacecraft in the South Polar regions on the Moon. I'm sure many of you were the eager and proud spectators of the Chandrayaan-3 landing that was being telecast from ISRO, situated in Bengaluru.
Roger.
We bring to you an integration film for the pslv C-57 that took place in Satish Dhawan Space Center, Shar, Sriharikota.
अभी आप अपने स्क्रीन पर देख रहे हैं, यह है प्रथम कोर चरण S139 बूस्टर का नोजल एंड सेगमेंट। इस प्रथम चरण के साथ ये शुरुआत होती है और यह मिडिल सेगमेंट को इसके ऊपर संयोजित किया जा रहा है। ऐसे 3 मिडिल सेगमेंट इसके ऊपर संयोजित किए जाएंगे और अंत में हेड एंड सेगमेंट सबसे ऊपर की ओर संयोजित किया जाएगा और इस तरह तैयार होता है PSLV का प्रथम चरण कोर बूस्टर S139। इसमें 139 टन का प्रणोदक होता है और यह इग्नाइटर है जो इसे प्रज्वलित करता है। इस मिशन पे यह है PSLV C-57 एक्सेल मिशन। तो इसमें हैं 6 स्ट्रेपॉन बूस्टर्स, हर एक में 12 टन के नोदक भरे जाते हैं। यह सब ठोस नोदक पर आधारित हैं। यह SI-TVC टैंक को उठाकर इसके साथ संयोजित किया जा रहा है। इंटर स्टेज आप देख रहे हैं, इसमें रिट्रो मोटर्स लगे हुए हैं पृथक्करण के लिए। और यह है द्वितीय चरण जो कि तरल नोदक पर आधारित चरण है। इसमें विकास इंजन लगा हुआ है
All stations.
And here is the
stand by
second
for the
stage
time
of the PSLV rocket,
T-minus
prepared in
25
the
minutes and
subsystem
counting.
preparation facility and brought to the vehicle assembly building of the second launch pad to be integrated on the first stage of the rocket. Here you can see this third stage PS3 and PS4 being moduled
Roger.
and placed inside the respective shroud and then handled together
Roger.
to be moved to the vehicle assembly building.
ये नज़ारा आप देख रहे हैं व्हीकल असेंबली बिल्डिंग का, जहां पर पूरे व्हीकल को असेंबल किया जाता है.
These are the visuals from the clean room of the spacecraft preparation facility. This is the Aditya L1 spacecraft being prepared and ensconced into a protective container where the environment is controlled and the temperature is controlled, the cleanliness is controlled. At the vehicle assembly building, again, there is a clean room provision to safely integrate it to the rocket, and then the heat shield halves are closed. Now the vehicle is fully ready to be moved to the launch pad, which is about 900 meters away. This is PSLV C-57 standing majestically. The launch will take place today,
minutes and counting.
the 2nd of September 2023 at 11:50 hours in time from
Control
the
to
second
all
launch
stations.
pad.
All stations switch over to channel 2 at T
The
minus
PSLV
20 minutes.
C-57 in
No
its
confirmation
XL
is
version
needed
will
to
carry
confirm.
Aditya L1 spacecraft having a mass of 1,480 kilograms. The mission intends to place the spacecraft in 235 by 19,500 kilometers orbit with an inclination of 19.2 degrees. The total mission duration will be 3,799 seconds or 63 minutes 19 seconds. We are 17 minutes 23 seconds from the launch time. The countdown for PSLV C-57 Aditya L1 mission has been 24 hours long. It had started yesterday. During the countdown, critical activities have been carried out on the launch vehicle and the spacecraft. The propellant have been serviced into the launch vehicle stages. The bottles storing the
T-minus
gases for
17
command
minutes and counting.
and control operations have been charged to pre-launch pressure levels.
Roger. Control
The
to
onboard
LCC2
batteries
and
have
VLCC.
been charged.
Timing confirmed external hold mode.
Now in a little while we'll go to the automatic launch sequence initiation, for which the preparations are underway in the launch and mission control centers.
Mission Readiness Review and Launch Authorization Board have already given clearance for proceeding with the countdown and launch of PSLV C-57 Aditya L1 mission. All operations in the countdown sequence till automatic launch sequence have been completed satisfactorily. Based on the clearance obtained from launch vehicle, spacecraft, range and distract network stations and prevailing favorable weather conditions, Mission Director hereby authorizes to initiate launch operation sequence for the launch of PSLV C-57 Aditya L1 mission at 11:50 hours IST today, that is 2nd September 2023.
All stations to note, Mission Director has given authorization for the launch of PSLV C-57 Aditya L1 mission.
The automatic launch sequence, the initiation has been announced, and hereafter a very critical capsule of performance validation for the launch vehicle systems will be carried out, and very close to the launch time, control will be passed on to the onboard computers. Screens, Honorable Minister of State for Science and Technology and Prime Minister's Office, Dr. Jitendra Singh. This mission is the 91st launch mission of ISRO and 59th of Workhorse PSLV. As mentioned earlier, PSLV's XL version with 6 strap-on motors alongside the core S139 motor is being used for the present mission. This is the 25th time PSLV XL is getting ready for launch. So far in the year 2023, ISRO has launched SSLV's maiden successful mission, 2 commercial missions of PSLV, 1 mission of GSLV carrying the first among the second generation of navigation satellites, 1 commercial mission of LVM-3 and another mission of LVM-3 again carrying the prestigious Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft. Let me in the meantime tell the viewers about the flight events that the launch of PSLV C-57 Aditya L1 will take. This mission is among the longest flights of PSLV. It is going to last for 63 minutes and 19 seconds. The liftoff coincides with the ignition of core S-139 solid rocket motor and the ignition of the 4 ground-lit strap-ons. While the rocket is at 2.7 kilometers altitude, the 2 air-lit strap-ons also commence their operation. The action time of strap-on motors is 70 seconds and the ground-lit and air-lit strap-ons are separated from the ongoing launch vehicle at 70 and 92 seconds into the flight, respectively. The core S-139 motor continues to thrust till 110 seconds. Since the second stage of PSLV operates on pressure-fed liquid engine, the optimal performance of the engine is ensured if the effect thrust cutoff or separation of the lower stage is countered by additional means of thrust generation. Therefore, the alleged motors provided for this purpose ignite 3 seconds before the first stage separation and continue to thrust for 11 seconds. The second stage, PS2, commences its operation 200 milliseconds after the separation of first stage. By this time, the rocket would have attained 55 kilometers altitude. The closed-loop guidance is initiated, which compares the present state of rocket to the intended injection point to compute an optimal trajectory. This happens while the rocket is at 59.7 kilometers altitude. At 204 seconds into the flight, the payload fairing is separated as the launch vehicle attains 113 kilometers altitude and the dense atmosphere is no longer present around. These events are taking place in the operational regime of the second stage, which lasts for 153 seconds. PS2 is separated 262.4 seconds into the flight at an altitude of 130 kilometers, while the relative velocity is 4.9 kilometers per second. The third stage, PS3, ignites about a second later and burns for 118 seconds, during which time it adds 12 kilometers to the altitude and enhances relative velocity tremendously from 4.9 kilometers per second to 7.3 kilometers per second. There is a coast phase of 200 seconds that follow PS3 burnout, during which there is no thrust being developed, but the rocket continues to be steered. At 581 seconds into the flight, the PS3 separates and the last in the fourth stage of the rocket, together with the Aditya L1 spacecraft, coasts for a long time thereafter. Till 1396 seconds into flight, the tracking stations at Shar, Port Blair, Brunei and back will be acquiring the real-time performance data of the flight. But thereafter there is no visibility period of around 1600 seconds or 27 minutes. The fourth stage burns twice. First time for a duration of 30 seconds and second time for a duration of 472 seconds. The first burn takes place in no visibility zone and the second burn is tracked by a shipborne terminal placed in Pacific Ocean. About 200 seconds after the completion of second burn of PS4, the injection conditions for the separation of Aditya L1 are expected to be achieved. An altitude of 648.7 kilometers and a relative velocity of 8.9 kilometers per second, which translates into an orbit of 235 by 19,500 kilometers. The injection event of Aditya L1 will be confirmed by tracking station at Kourou. From the initial placement in low Earth orbit, Aditya L1 will undergo a series of earthbound orbit raising and eventually it will exit Earth's sphere of influence to reach Lagrange's point L1 in a journey spanning over 4 months. There it will be placed in a halo orbit around L1. This is how India's first observatory class space-based solar mission will take shape. The Satish Dhawan Space Center has its own meteorology department which keeps a very close watch on the weather at the launch base. Weather today is going to be dry and hot. The skies will remain clear. Ground winds will be benign and upper winds also are benign for the flight of pslv C-57 Aditya L1 mission. We are 4 minutes, 23 seconds to the launch.
Stand by for the timer. T-minus 1 minute and counting. Minus 55 seconds.
All subs are armed.
Minus 50 seconds.
All sequencers armed.
तो हमारे साथ बने रहिए। अब 40 सेकंड पर
Minus 40 seconds.
प्रमोशन किया
PS2
जाएगा।
VHPP open.
Minus 35 seconds. Minus 30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
Minus 25 seconds.
PS2 VSPP open.
Minus 20 seconds.
PS on ignition RMS arm.
Minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
Lift off normal.
P1 tracking.
PC tracking.
Plus 10
Magnificent
seconds.
liftoff of PSLV C-57 with Aditya L1 on board.
Plus 15 seconds.
PSLV C-57 का सफल उत्थापन और इसके साथ
20 seconds.
प्रथम भारतीय सौर अंतरिक्ष यान निकल चुका है सूर्य के
Plus
तेज से
25
विज्ञान को प्रकाश करने।
Air lead strap on ignited.
इसके साथ ही
Plus
एक और
30
कदम
seconds.
है अंतर्ग्रहीय सफर में भारत की उपस्थिति सिद्ध करने का। आप देख रहे हैं PSLV C-57 प्रथम चरण पूरी तरह सामान्य।
The rocket flying forth, following nominal trajectory and developing nominal thrust. The bright fumes against a clear midday sky.
Engine main auto.
A rocket launch is more than just a sight to behold.
First
The
stage
roaring sound
performance
and the
normal.
vibrations that we can feel
First
here,
engine main
adding
auto.
to this, the thrill are just amazing. Ground lit and air lit strap-ons operating together with the first stage S-139.
Ground lead strap on separated.
जैसा कि निर्धारित है ग्राउंड लेड स्ट्रैप ऑन को
First
सेपरेट कर
stage
दिया गया है
performance normal.
और प्रथम चरण का निष्पादन सामान्य है। इस घटनाक्रम में अगला एयर लेड स्ट्रैप ऑन को यान से पृथक कर दिया जाएगा।
Air lead strap on separated.
जी हाँ, इसकी भी पुष्टि हो गई है। स्ट्रैप ऑन को सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है।
We are 100 seconds past the launch time. The ground lit and air lit strap-ons have been separated. S-139 motor still thrusting.
S-139
First stage
110
separated.
सेकंड के प्रज्वलन
Second
काल के
stage
पश्चात
engine
उसे
started.
भी
Closed
पृथक
loop
कर दिया गया
guidance
है।
initiated.
Plus 2 minutes.
द्वितीय चरण जो कि तरल नोदक पर आधारित चरण है, इसका प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है और वर्तमान में प्रणोद
Second
उत्पन्न
stage
कर रहा है।
performance normal.
The launch vehicle is at an altitude of 73 kilometers. First stage has been separated. Second stage has begun its operation and the closed loop guidance has been initiated. According to the announcement by Range Operations Director, PS2 is developing nominal thrust.
PS2 41 टन के तरल नोदक पर आधारित चरण है। इसमें विकास इंजन द्वारा 800 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न होता है और इसका प्रज्वलन काल लगभग 150 सेकंड का होगा।
Shar and Port Blair tracking stations presently acquiring signals. Flight path closely matching the prediction.
Plus 3 minutes.
वर्तमान में यान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत है।
Second stage performance normal.
यान की ऊंचाई 106 किलोमीटर। तथा सापेक्ष गति 3 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड।
The velocity addition in PS2 regime is going to be from 2 kilometers per second to 4.9 kilometers per second.
Payload fairing separated.
The payload fairing covering the Aditya L1 spacecraft has been separated. The current altitude of the launch vehicle is 118 kilometers. Relative velocity exceeding 3.8 kilometers per second.
जी हाँ, यान अब घने वातावरण से बाहर जा चुका है, इसलिए ऊष्मा कवच की जरूरत नहीं रह जाती है और इस कारण इसे यान से पृथक कर दिया जाता है।
Second stage performance normal.
द्वितीय चरण वर्तमान में प्रणोद उत्पन्न करता हुआ और यान पूरी तरह सामान्य प्रदर्शन करता हुआ अपने अनुमानित पथ की ओर बढ़ रहा है।
Second stage separated, third stage ignited.
द्वितीय चरण को भी सफलतापूर्वक यान से पृथक कर दिया गया है उसके प्रज्वलन
Third
काल
stage
समाप्त होने पर।
normal.
और तृतीय चरण जो कि ठोस नोदक पर आधारित चरण है, इसका प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है।
We are close to 5 minutes past the launch time. Presently, the third stage of PSLV is operational, developing nominal thrust.
Plus 5 minutes.
तृतीय चरण में 7.6 टन के ठोस नोदक का प्रयोग होता है।
For the present mission, after PS3 completes
Plus
its
6
burn
minutes.
duration, a coast phase of 200 seconds will follow, in which the rocket will continue to be steered while there is no development of thrust.
जी हाँ, अभी कुछ ही क्षणों में
Third
PS3
stage
का
action completed.
प्रज्वलन काल समाप्त हो चुका है और कोस्टिंग फेज इसके बाद जारी रहेगा।
Vehicle in combined hosting for approximately 200 seconds.
Unique to this mission, the
Vehicle
PS4
performance normal.
will start twice at pre-designated times
Plus
and
7
duration.
minutes.
The multiple start capability of PS4 will be utilized very aptly to achieve the argument of perigee of 346.6 degrees, which is very crucial for this mission. The commencement and duration of PS4 burns enable achieving this orbital parameter. Argument of perigee is the angle that is made by the perigee point from the ascending node at equatorial plane. AOP exceeding 300 degrees is helpful in mission planning to achieve halo orbit around L1 with minimal propellant expenditure. Speaking a few words about the Aditya L1, describing the sun, Indian Vedas have said, Yesha Bhagavan Manirakasha Mandalasya Chakravati Khechara Chakrasya Deepako Brahmanda Bhandasya Asayeva Charkarti Bharvati Jarhati Jagat. This mighty jewel, the light of eastern sky, who generates, operates and destroys the universe, while the energy of sun, after having filtered by the atmosphere, is available for the sustenance of earth, the explosive phenomena in sun and the solar flares are a cause for concern to the spacecraft and human space missions. The vantage point for such observations is a place in between the sun and earth.
Third stage separated.
Now we have a successful separation event of the third
Vehicle in
stage of
separated
PSLV.
hosting. It is approximately 900 seconds.
Plus 10 minutes.
We are 627 seconds from the launch. For another 600 more seconds or so, we will be getting tracking data from the BIAX ground station. The vantage point for observing sun is a place in between the sun and earth where direct visibility exists to the sun while continuous communication link exists with the earth. These observations will generate a forewarning about disturbances in near-Earth space environment which could pose danger to the communication systems and spacecrafts. Various thermal and magnetic phenomena on the sun are of extreme nature, which cannot be replicated in labs. The best way is to observe the sun up close. The distance between the Earth and Sun is approximately 150 million kilometers. At the central region of the Sun, known as core, the temperature can reach as high as 15 million degrees Celsius. Power source for the Sun is nuclear fusion of hydrogen atoms that takes place in the core. The visible surface of Sun is relatively cool and has a temperature of about 5,500 degrees Celsius. The Aditya L1 spacecraft is planned to be placed in a halo orbit around the Lagrange point 1 or L1 of the Sun-Earth system, which is about 1.5 million kilometers from Earth, roughly 1% of the distance to Sun. A halo orbit is a periodic three-dimensional orbit near the Lagrange point in the three-body problem of orbital mechanism. The object in this orbit stays in place by the gravity of Earth and Sun. It requires little energy for station keeping. Several probes have been placed in space to observe the Sun by various space agencies. Lagrange's point L1 is a great location for solar explorers such as Aditya L1, as it allows for an unobstructed view of the Sun that is never eclipsed by Earth. At L1, Aditya L1 will join spacecraft such as ESA NASA's Solar Heliospheric Observatory or SOHO, which has been at L1 since 1996.
Vehicle performance normal.